Hey everyone, welcome back. This is my bonus feature where I invited a family friend to ask me questions who's been following my journey. I thought it would be a great opportunity because she's been one who has wanted to ask me questions and give input. So she's behind the camera over there. Say hi. Hi. Okay, and so she's gonna ask me a series of questions that I'm gonna try to keep it under time so it's not long. It's my bonus feature, and so I'm gonna let her go ahead and get started and answer them. And I don't know these questions at all, so you're getting the raw, the raw, yeah, the raw reaction. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, my first question is, what's your philosophy in life?
My philosophy in life, it is you only live once and you have to make it count. But at the same time, I believe that you have to exercise wisdom. And I believe in only living once, long as you doing what makes you happy, you can't apologize for doing it. And it took me a while to figure out the answer to that question because I know I only live once, but I was very determined in getting stuff accomplished. But I had precaution with it. So people may misunderstand. If you only live once, then how come you're so reserved? It's like I only live once, so I didn't want to make mistakes in this journey of living once. So it's like, okay, I can go and just be careless and run out and go, or I can strategically do this thing right that and only living once, I can live the best life once. I can go hard. Like I believe in going hard, like putting in the work. But when it's time to break free, it's like, oh my God, the freedom comes and then it's like I'm gone with it. So I believe that you only live once, but when living once, you gotta live it strategically right so that when you make plans to be careless or to be free, it's not hurting anybody else in your YOLO.
Okay. So, where you listen to where you mentioned that doing what makes you happy, which leads me into the next question, which is, do you believe that we really can choose to be happy? Why or why not?
I think being happy is a state of mind. I think you can choose to be happy because I've been in some situations where the outside did not reflect what was happening internally. And I think some people look at me and they may think that I don't feel the things I feel or I haven't gone through much and really don't really understand where I come from. So I think that people misconstrue who I am because I try to look at the best out of every situation. I try to be optimistic and I try to be rationalizing because happiness, I believe, is a state of mind. And I made a life changing change, a life decision change about 6 months ago. And exterior wise, I had a lot of financial things that I was very, very blessed. But internally in my heart, I was not happy. And so I'm here in a new place with less, but there's so much happiness in my heart that I feel like I have so much more.
Okay. My next question for you is, how do you want people to remember you?
That I was a bomb.com. I want people to remember me as being real. As I love and I knew love and I showed love and that I was funny and I laughed at myself as much as I laughed at other people and that I never took myself serious. I mean, that's what I want people to know that I just don't. I mean, I could, but I don't. That I like to laugh and I'm funny and yeah, and I got a good heart.
Okay, this is getting interesting. I actually like this session. I like this video. It's okay. Anyway, let me get back focused to my next question because we're on a time limit. Do you feel like you are proud of the person you've become?
Um, I am proud, but I have a lot of work to do.
Okay. Okay. What about your biggest weakness slash personal obstacle?
That would be the whole purpose of me doing the video. Um, it's that I want to be great, but I fear being great. I want to be it, but I'm scared of what it looks like on me. Because I've seen some people abuse and I've seen some people squander being great. And I want to be it, but at times I fear being great.
Okay. I feel like this series of questions has a lot to do with happiness. I don't know where this is going, but most of the
You picked the
questions
questions, but
I'm
okay.
picking, and I really love the answer and the responses. But this next question is kind of relates to everything we've been discussing so far. But the question is, when you picture your most fulfilled, happy self, how would you describe what you envision?
Love, 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 love. Love is a feeling. Love is an action. So it's love. That's what I envision. Something that can't be. You gotta make me. Ooh, this will make me cry.
So I told you this is like a lot of emotion in this session. There's a lot of
It's love,
raw
love.
emotions and
Love is a
deep.
feeling. Love is a feeling.
Okay. Next question. Where and when are you your best self? Do you feel you are your best self?
When I'm teaching my students in my classroom.
Oh, well, speaking of teaching and students, and being that you are teaching middle school kids, when we're all trying to figure out where we are and who we are, and yeah, you've been 15 before. So if you could give a 15-year-old one piece of advice, what would you say?
Um, I would say at 15 that put your boots on, meaning that 15 you out of elementary, you out of middle school, you in high school, and you have started a part where the record counts. Elementary school, the record kind of counts. Middle school, the record kind of counts. High school, the record really counts because it sets up your life. And that could be huge for people to know that that record has started. So it's kind of just like if I had to tell a 15-year-old, it would just be, put your boots on and get ready because high school is such a defining time because it's you making those decisions, those choices. And at 15, I'm assuming that you're not in ninth grade anymore, where they kind of freshmen, they kind of pacifying you. 15, it's time to buckle down. It was at 15 that I walked in my counselor's office thinking I was going to talk about one thing. And she looked at me and said, "Let me introduce you to the Academy of Finance, a business background." Up until that point, I just knew I was going to be a lawyer. All my life, I knew I was going to be a lawyer. Up until that moment at 15, I walked into that counselor's office and she had a conversation with me about Academy and introduced me to business. And I put my boots on because I had never even thought about going to aspect, and it was different. And so it's like put your boots on, meaning you got to go through some trenches, you got to claw your way out. You can't wear sandals and cute shoes at that time because you're getting ready to separate yourself from your friends and what you know best. Because everybody with you at that point isn't going to go to college with you. Everybody who you thought was your best friend is not going to be your best friend anymore. Life begins to separate you because you got people who you're competing with, who's standing right there next to you. So it's all fun and games over. Start to be over at that time.
Okay, okay, okay.
I met some good people at 15 though.
That's what I'm saying. 15, that's like that stage when you're just trying to.
I met some good people at 15.
Okay, so this next question is kind of with the last question I asked, but is what you're doing now. You mentioned you were introduced to business and finances at 15 when you went to talk to a counselor. So this next question is what you're doing now what you always wanted to do growing up?
Kind of, sort of, yes. Yes, yes, because I knew that teaching was a part of who I am, and I knew that teaching was a part of my ministry, but I always thought I was going to be working in the business industry longer than I was. Like, I thought I was going to be there maybe to like 30s, 40s in business, and then go and teach, whether it was professor or teacher. And I always thought teaching was later in life. But God had different plans, and He always put in the back of my head teaching, teacher, teaching, teaching, teacher, teaching. And so I would do stuff at church for like Sunday school and teaching different stuff. And I would always be in positions to teach and give instructions and facilitate and learn from other people. And teaching was always there. But my vision of what teaching looked like was later when I thought I had more wisdom. I didn't think I was going to be equipped young enough to impart wisdom. So that's always, I envisioned a person who was a teacher to be much older, to be wiser, that a person with wisdom couldn't be me at a young age. I thought I had to be older.
Okay. These answers are just giving me life. Y'all don't understand. These answers are giving me life. But on to the next. Do you think that everything happens because of chance, or do you think we're more in control that we give ourselves credit for?
Uh, I think that I have to rely on my religious belief to say that things happen to us by the wills of God that God has for us. And there's your permitted will, and then there's your divine will, and there's a third will that I always forget. But I think things happen because it's the will of what you want to happen. You will things into your life, and you pray about things that you want to happen, and things happen from that. I don't think it's chance. I don't think things happen by chance, and that's because of what I believe. I believe everything happens in the divine order that God has for you, but I believe that God is not a forceful person, being, spirit. It's I knock at the door, and you have to let me in and welcome me into your life, and so I believe that you're permitted, the permitted will of God, that you will say, well, God will say, I'll let this happen, or it's okay that this happens, but I have something better for you. And I think people believe in chance, like this happened to me by happenstance and chance. I don't. I believe that things happen by the will of God that God allows to happen, which is a scary place because people then have their own ideologies that they will threaten you and say, well, you think God willed for sickness and God willed for it depends on the conversation you have with some individual. But I believe everything happens in God's divine order for me. He knew the plans he had for me in the womb before when I was that twinkle in my father's eye. He knew what the plans were. And it was like, what do I want? God, he's not going to be forceful.
All
Just so
right.
you know, we have 3 minutes before.
Okay. We have 3 minutes, so let me just
Like two. So
okay.
you probably got two more questions in. Sorry guys, two more questions.
Okay. This one is what makes you feel accomplished?
Um wow. Uh that's one that I struggle with because I feel like I have so much more work to do. So I think part of it is embracing things that fear me. Like I'm not scared when I accomplish something that I've been afraid of forever, and then I go after it, that makes me feel accomplished. But an individual may misunderstand it. They think that my degrees make me feel accomplished. Well, yes, because that's a tangible reward on the outside, but it was the tenacity and the fight and the audacity in me that made me think that who had no financial way to make it, who had the odds against me, something in me said, I can do it. And it was that boldness in me that said, I can do it with no help, walking to school, no books, and to be the least of them and to look at me and say, I can make it. Like that is like where that pride comes from. But people misconstrue that and think it's the degree and it's that. No, it's the audacity that I thought me of all people can go and do it, and I did it.
Okay, last question. Being that in the perfect timing, you will be a parent. So this next question is with everything you pretty much said, I'm sure you'll probably instill these in your kids. But what kind of parent do you think you will be? Like,
Thebomb.com. Like, look at me, child, look at me. I'm gonna be all that. I'll be very strict. I'll be strict and I'll be pushing, but I'll push with tough love because I do that to my friends and people around me. I'll be a tough love parent. So anyway, listen, guys, that's all we have time for because it only lets be 15 minutes. But we'll do a random one later. See y'all. Hope y'all enjoy. Put your comments below.